Share kind of stuff. Host is not in the meeting yet. Is that him? Do you know someone?
Why did I get the voice?
Huh?
Morning, Joe.
How are you, Dave?
I'm doing fine. Yeah, I love your background. Is that lighthouse? Is that something local?
2 hours away.
Oh,
Point Judith, Rhode Island.
oh, got it. Yeah,
That's the Point Judith.
Oh, is that it?
I guess so. Do I just say hello?
Yeah. Say this is Bob Cat.
This is Bob Katz speaking.
Can't see you, Bob. We see a fan.
Oh. Okay, let me get my picture on here. Hold on a second.
I'll just aim the iPad to you. Coming in, coming in, coming. There you go.
Yep, there I go. Hollywood, here I come. Have you got an agent? You. Oh, good. And we'll film it in Port Judith, Rhode Island. So everyone gets a little piece of the action.
Yeah, I saw Stu's sent the schedule of speakers,
Yeah,
and I see you got my son-in-law speaking.
absolutely. I figured we had to have him, Joe. I mean, you know.
Fortunately or unfortunately, that's the week I'm going to be down in South
Oh.
Carolina. I'm leaving on the 13th, and he's scheduled for 14th.
Right.
It always works out that way, doesn't it?
It does. It does. But no, he was happy to do it. I mean, he's such a busy guy. You know,
Oh my
so,
gosh, yeah.
you know, I said, you know, if you can work it in. If you ever need a speaker, my expertise is in the COVID that's going on. Yeah. Medication errors, supplements, really basically in the health field. I don't know if any of you heard of Rockefeller University.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was their director of pharmacy. Oh.
Oh, wow.
So you get the inside information, you know, why our big pharmas have become so unethical. And what's going on with COVID, what company you should take, where you should get the vaccine. And these are things most people, you know, and obviously if you're not in the field, you wouldn't know. So I would be glad to give a talk, or if you have questions today, I'll certainly be glad to answer them.
So you got you got to volunteer.
I just tuned in, so I don't know what he's volunteering for.
Oh, Bob, why don't you just let Stu know so he can
Yeah. I have expertise in areas like the COVID vaccine, how these vaccines are developed, the pros and cons, medication errors, the opium problem, what supplements you should buy and keep away from. And it's just a good health information talk that the lay public would know, because if you're not in the field, you don't have privy to some of this information.
Right?
and
Yeah.
tell him your background, Bob.
Yeah. Have you ever heard of Rockefeller University?
I've heard of it. I don't know much about it, but go ahead.
Rockefeller University is like one of the world's leading research institutions. And I was their director of pharmacy.
Uh-huh.
So I was involved with all these, researchers. We had 13 Nobel Prize winners.
Wow.
So, yeah, so it was like going to school every day and getting a free education.
So Bob, what's your last name?
Katz.
That's the
Yeah,
tough,
it's not iPad.
tough one. Right.
Here's a popular station, All Hits Radio
Um,
on Amazon Music. By the way, when you hear a song you like,
What's this one?
canceling.
my Alexa was acting up. I'm sorry, Bob, what was your email
That's
address?
okay.
Harm, PHARM, Robert @gmail.com.
Okay, thank you very much. I'll send you an email so we can connect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bunch of early birds this morning.
Not that early.
Well, now, yeah. These guys were talking 5 minutes ago. Jerry, any update on our friend Lou?
I see him. He's very busy, tough to talk with him. I might have a chance to chat with him this evening.
Okay. We're looking at sometime in February or March.
Yeah, I know he wants to do it in person and
Yeah.
hopefully,
Uh,
you never know what's happening these days.
Yep,
But
Mm.
hopefully February and March, we're back to in person.
I hope so.
Oh, what you hear? Yeah, so I mean, Bob, you know what, Stu, unless you have, Bob, your presentation, is it something that you can do? I mean, if it's scheduled, but to have you as on the, on the bench, so to speak, in case somebody can't make it and, jump in and do the presentation.
Yeah, because I really don't have to do much preparation considering I've been doing this for some time.
So if we with Joe's really saying very last minute, if somebody crapped out on us, we could call you and have you step in.
Yeah,
And that could be either live or Zoom.
any way you prefer. I
Okay.
prefer honestly live from the standpoint I like to get the audience involved. I'll ask questions as I go ahead and give a lecture. And it's just things you don't realize. For example, I would say, if you're getting a prescription filled, most important thing is how you go ahead and get the name correct. So if I said Catherine, how would you spell it?
Right. Several, about 4 or 5 different ways.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. We would obviously prefer live too, but
We do the best we can.
yeah. Yeah. Good. Thank you.
Thanks. Wow.
So, what else is new today?
Yeah, I was telling Dave, you scheduled a speaker for October 14th. Unfortunately, that's the week I'm going to be away.
Are you
That's
the-
Mark McGrath is Joe's son-in-law.
Oh, okay.
It's a family thing.
So he can talk about you then.
You know, I'm sure he's got a lot to say.
Okay.
Yeah, Joe was telling me that Mark has a military background in communications that paralleled some stuff that I did, and I didn't know that. So going to have an offline conversation with him. I know him through the Patriotic and Special Events Commission that he heads,
Uh-huh.
the Stamford city government.
So he's gonna primarily talk about operations, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he's one busy guy. And there's hardly anything that goes on in Stamford that doesn't come under his watch.
Well, then he's doing a good job on the roads.
Yeah,
I tell you, this year, a lot of roads are getting
well, they are, yeah.
repaved, yeah. It's,
That and synchronizing the stoplights, what, year before last, whenever that was,
uh-huh.
it made a big difference.
Pretty much everything in the city's operations falls under his responsibility.
Yeah.
Yeah, other than Ted Jankowski has police, fire, and health, all the safety aspects, and then they have the administrative, business functions, and then everything else, from roads to garbage to parks to you name it, traffic,
It's-
all comes under his or Department of Operations.
Yeah.
You did traffic lights too?
Yeah.
Everything. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Batiste, and before him,
Travers?
Travers reported to Mark.
Uh-huh. Well, maybe we can get a stoplight. fixed.
Hasselo Engineering Department, they report to operations,
And so he reports to the mayor?
and he reports directly to the mayor. He's one of the three directors: health and safety, administration, and operations. So if it's not health and safety or administration, it's
Tim,
his headache.
is that an elected position or is that?
No, it's an appointed
it's appointed.
position. Yeah,
So,
yeah.
so
All of those are appointed.
he might not have a job in January? Is that what you're-
Hey, look, we got 12.
Good.
Yeah.
Good group today.
That's a record. You see Jose is on. Hey,
Yeah. Hey, Jose.
you hear us, Jose?
I don't know.
He's
Jose?
connecting to audio.
Yeah.
I didn't look.
Now he's muted.
Jose, can you hear us? Jose, can you hear us? You're on
You're
mute.
muted, Jose.
He's frozen.
Jose, you're muted.
There you go.
Yeah.
Say good morning, Jose.
Cool.
Oh, it's not working.
You're unmuted, but we can't hear you.
Weird. Wow.
So I'm reading a very interesting book that I think some of you are probably aware of. It is called Just Mercy. It is nonfiction. It is written by Brian Stevenson, who is the director of the Equal Justice Initiative in Montgomery, Alabama, a professor of law at New York University, and actually Just Mercy, A Story of Justice and Redemption, was actually a film. There is a paragraph here I would love to read to you, if you don't mind. He is talking about the prison population has increased from 300,000 people in the early 1970s to 2.3 million people today. We have shot, hanged, gassed, electrocuted, and lethally injected hundreds of people to carry out legally sanctioned executions. Thousands more await their execution on death row. Some states have no minimum age for prosecuting children as adults. We have sent 250,000 kids to adult jails and prisons to serve long-term prison terms, some under the age of 12. For years, we have been the only country in the world that condemns children to life imprisonment without parole. Nearly 3,000 juveniles have been sentenced to die in prison. Hundreds of thousands of nonviolent offenders have been forced to spend decades in prison. We have created laws that make writing a bad check or committing a petty theft or minor property crime an offense that can result in life imprisonment. We have declared a costly war on people with substance abuse problems. There are more than 500,000 people in state and federal prisons for drug offenses today, up from 41,000 in 1980. Brian Stevenson has won dozens of relief for condemned prisoners, argued 5 times before the Supreme Court, won national acclaim for his work challenging bias against the poor and people of color. He has received numerous awards, including the MacArthur Foundation Genius Grant. I'm reading this book, and it is mind-opening. It is factual, I believe, a piece of nonfiction, and I'm just wondering if anybody has any comments.
Where do some of these situations take place, and what areas of the country?
The main area that he worked in was Alabama, but he's talking broadly about across the United States for the statistics. That's across the United States, but he did most of his work in the South.
You have to try to start programs which have meaning. To shuffle someone in and out of prison doesn't really help. I just saw yesterday where a prisoner now has a program where he starts talking to kids like 13, 14, 15, and he can relate to them and they can relate to him. And he seems to be having pretty good success in getting these kids straightened out. Unfortunately, today, we have all these gangs, and the shootings have become amazing, so blatant. So I think you need good mental health professionals, psychopharmacologists, therapists, to try to get these young kids to retrain them and to do something worthwhile. You see, some kids will train dogs to be service dogs, and they feel very, important that they were able to do this. With the drug addiction, you can't just send them to a rehab. You're just recycling them. And that's just my opinion, that you gotta need these programs.
I think you're right, Bob. The problem with that, the author of that book stated was that a lot of the prisons are for profit. And so
Correct, yes.
that's part of the issue, right? And we read that a couple of years ago for the book club, I believe. But I don't remember that much about it.
At 10:30. I'm gonna go take a shower.
There is actually a portion in the book, a very small portion, about one particular incident. And that particular incident was picked up by John Grisham for his latest book. It also has Mercy in the title, and I'm forgetting it right now. A Time for Mercy or something like that.
That's
And
right. That's
Grisham,
right.
say that again?
A Time for Mercy is correct.
Yes, A
And
Time for Mercy.
It's 3 books, a series.
Actually, Grisham picked up something from Stevenson's experience and has been in touch with Stevenson, was permitted to use an incident where and add it to a fiction book. But Stevenson's book, I think, was written in 14. I'm just trying to check the date. But I don't think anything has changed considerably. 2014, yes. It's a fascinating read. It's an interesting read. It was made into a film. I have not seen the film.
Good film.
You have seen it?
Yeah.
I have not seen the film.
It's
But the
also
book-
the Equal Justice Institute, I guess. It's
Yeah.
there's a museum in Montgomery, Alabama, which Joan and I went to a few years ago. It's a really amazing place. Kind of walk through, see all the history, and it's really a mind opener. It really is. Definitely recommend going to that if you can get to Montgomery.
Montgomery, Alabama.
Yeah,
I'm not sure I want to go to Alabama.
maybe not now, but in a year or two.
Maybe.
There's
Little different than the downtown Manhattan.
Yeah.
It's amazing over the past few years, there are places that I just am not interested in traveling through. I thought at one time I would take a car and slowly drive from Connecticut out to California. But there are some states that I'm not interested in stopping at a diner and sitting around people who have guns at their side, where they're permitted to carry them, and have people look at me as an Easterner,
Mhm.
and I would feel very, very uncomfortable.
You're correct.
The world has changed, or the country has changed, or the world has changed too.
World.
That's my whole philosophy for tonight. I will now shut up. Maybe.
Except Jerry, those are the people with the guns on their side. That's the safe place to be.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we were gonna
I
take
hear,
it.
I hear Alabama is a hot spot to go to now.
We were gonna take a 2.5-week vacation starting next week, of which 8 days was gonna be in Florida. And we just decided 2 days ago to cut out the whole Florida part of the trip.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, just the whole thing, just avoid the state totally. So,
Yeah.
so kind of a bummer, but hey, bad spot.
So where are you going, Stu?
Well, we were gonna take a train to Florida
Mhm.
and spend the week there. My sister lives there and some friends and other relatives, and then take a train back up to Raleigh, where we have more relatives, and then Washington. And so we just cut out the whole train to Florida and the train back to Raleigh, and just take a day train to Raleigh and pick up the trip from there.
Yes.
But the Florida thing just scared us and decided to skip it.
I don't blame you.
Yeah.
Well, to give you just a little insight into Florida, my grandson is an emergency room physician in Florida. And people come in there saying, I can't breathe, I can't smell, I can't taste, I got chills, I got fever, but I don't have COVID. And he says, I'm sorry, that's what you're being treated for. He says, well, it doesn't exist. And the mentality is like unbelievable, because he also gets patients coming in from Alabama, Arkansas, Georgia, and they vehemently deny that they have COVID, and they're all unvaccinated.
That's a different, different part of the world down there.
How do you fight that? Jesus, I mean, that's,
Yeah, you really can't. If people believe what they believe, there's no arguing with them.
even when they're dying, it sounds like.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Politicizing a virus was a bad idea. Whoever thought of it. The virus doesn't care who you voted for.
Well, that's the reason that we're having a surge now. With all the July 4th celebrations, thousands of people together unmasked.
Yep.
And I think we're going to have another surge in September, October.
Yeah.
I went to Trader Joe's on Tuesday for the first time in a long time, and I was one of the few customers who wasn't wearing a mask. And I felt very uneasy. I went outside and got my mask. Almost everybody in there was wearing a mask.
Yeah.
Not everybody in the staff, not every customer, but the vast majority of customers were masked,
Yep.
which is interesting.
As of a week ago, I hadn't going into the stores or anything like that. I had not been wearing my mask, but the last week, I'm not going to flaunt it, put myself at risk. So I put the mask on going into the stores. And same thing with Trader Joe's. On Wednesday, I noticed the same thing. Hey,
Okay, I feel very uneasy.
computer viruses are not
Transmittable,
they're not
huh?
contagious.
Yeah.
They're not
All right.
contagious in the air. But I mean, it's common sense. I mean, to deny it is just foolish.
It's stupid.
Well,
But what people don't realize is that from the variant, which is Delta now, there's going to be variants coming off of the variants.
Yep.
And the mutations are going to be coming off of mutations. And if you get that percentage who isn't going to wear the mask, we're in trouble.
What's the answer?
A mask is not a total protection because a virus has no mass. It does help because if you eliminate some of the particles that come into your system, that helps, but it's not a total protection. The best thing is distancing.
Well, I mean, look at it this way, though, guys. I mean, if everybody that's fighting a vaccine is of a certain political party, that may be hope for us in 2024, you know? Because the elections are close enough. I mean, if, 20, 30,000 people die because of this, right? I mean,
But you never know who's a Democrat and who's a Republican, so why take a chance? Just keep your
that's why some
distance.
of these Republican governors are coming out now and saying, changing their mind about it because they're realizing what's going on.
Out in Florida.
Yeah, well,
he's a
Florida
jerk.
and Texas, you're right. Between Abbott and DeSantis, there's a bit of a denial of reality, and
well, I think my opinion is that the powers that be have been pussyfooting around this whole thing. I mean, and they just have to come out strongly and tell the people that, hey, if you don't believe in this, you're a goddamn fool. And call it what it is. You can't just say, well, maybe we do this, maybe we do that, and then there's possibility of this, possibility of that. Come out and call it what it is and call the people out that because if you leave it up to the individuals, half of, a quarter of the people or a third of the people are going to get fully vaccinated. A third of the people are going to get one shot and say that's enough. And the other third are going to say, the hell with it, I'm not going to get vaccinated because I don't want to. And they come up with millions of excuses why they don't want to. I mean, I've heard people say, well, I'm allergic to getting any vaccine. Yeah, and then wait a minute. You got all of these other vaccines that have come out, but now all of a sudden you're allergic to vaccines.
Well, it didn't help that the FDA hasn't officially approved it yet, although I hear that's coming in September.
No, for Pfizer.
Yeah, for the Pfizer, and I guess once they officially approve it, then it can be mandated.
It could be mandated now.
Well, why not? I mean,
I think that'll do it. If you mandate this, you have to have a shot. And those people who think their rights are being infringed when they can't go to a restaurant, they can't go anywhere because they can't get in. Maybe that'll get through.
They could lie getting in.
Well,
There's no cards,
you got to
There's
show the card.
no record on a lot of people.
See, some people have a problem. When you go to bring a drug to market, you just can't rush it because you don't know what the side effects may be down the line. And I'll give you an example. You see all these biologicals being advertised on television. They spend more time telling you the side effects than they tell you what the drug is being used for.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, if you have kidney disease, liver disease, can't breathe, can't see, can't hear, you should consider not taking it. So, but the odds are like 1 in a million on some of these, and you have to take the chance.
Yeah, I mean, they'll talk about the odds of catching COVID are very small. Well, it's a lot of people are getting COVID. So, and the drugs that you say, the advertisement, that's a liability issue that they're doing that. I mean, you can't take aspirin if you got certain conditions. And hell, I mean, most of us, the only drug we knew growing up was take 2 aspirins and call me in the morning. Then they came out with Tylenol, but prior to that was aspirin and Argerol and iodine and mercurochrome, and that covered everything. Epsom salt too, if you sprained an ankle. But anyway, I mean, you wonder. I mean, look, science is science, and yeah, some of these effects, you don't know what they are, but that's down the road. Right now, you look at the fact that if you're going to be sitting there in an emergency room ICU unit, flat on your stomach, trying to get air into yourself, that's real.
Are any of you familiar with Guillain-Barré?
The syndrome?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not familiar with it, but heard of it.
Heard of it, yeah.
Okay. In my family, we get a flu shot every year. The odds of getting Guillain-Barré are 1 in a million. And what it does is you slowly become paralyzed. And it could last anywhere from a year to 5, 6 years. My wife got her flu shot, and 2 weeks later got Guillain-Barré. And took her a year and a half before she could walk again. Now that was a 1 in a million. And people will say, I don't want to be that 1 in a million. My thing is the odds are so remote, you have to take it.
I mean, what are the odds of getting hit by a drunk driver? What are the odds about, if you take all of the possibilities that you do every day, the odds of getting real serious problems are a lot greater than the odds of some of these medications.
So you're
And
saying
what are
life,
the odds of,
you're saying
and what are
life
the
is a
odds of
crapshoot.
getting COVID?
So
What
Joe,
was that?
You're saying life is a crapshoot.
Exactly.
Only when you take a colonoscopy, it's a crapshoot.
Hey, Robert, are you called Robert or Bob?
Bob,
Hey, Bob, as a pharmacist kind of guy, I'm just curious what you mentioned before. When you see those advertisements for those drugs on television and they list all those bad side effects, are they required by law to do that? Is that why they do it?
that's legal, yep. It's to say you were warned of it. It's really having a good intimate discussion with your physician. Do I really need the drug at this time? That's what I call a last stop drug. Because all of us have an immune system, and some is more immunocompromised than others. And you don't want to take a drug that may help what you get, but harm you in your kidneys or harm you in your arm, your liver. So that's the choice you have to make. Can I get away with what I have now? So I don't get 100% cured. I get 80%. I personally wouldn't risk it, because if I was 80%, I'm satisfied with that as compared to what I might be able to get. Every drug for every disease has been developed to cure that disease. What cures that disease may kill you otherwise from other ailments.
Yeah, the one I like about all those announcements, I mean, yeah, if you have this, you have that, you should stay away from. How do you know when they tell you if you're allergic to beta bullshit, don't take it? How do you know that you're allergic to it?
Unless you take it. That's right.
I mean, some of these compounds are just developed, so they're not out there that, you say, if you were allergic to aspirin or, something like that, don't take it. It's something that's brand new. Nobody knows if they're allergic to it or not.
They'll
That's
say,
the most ridiculous thing.
right, they'll say if you're allergic to it or any of its ingredients. Like
Yeah.
no.
It's dumb. But the drug
I'm
company,
allergic to the calcium stearate that they put in there to bind the pill together. It's
well, I'll tell you where you can really develop allergic reactions, where what country the drug is actually manufactured in. If you hear India or China, avoid it if you can. The pharmacist is stuck because they're not allowed to order from reputable generic companies. I'll give you an example. Lipitor. Lipitor is manufactured generically by a company called Greenstone. Who owns Greenstone? Pfizer. What does Pfizer make? Lipitor. What is your choice? Oh, we give you Lupin from India, Dr. Reddy from India. Then you look up, those companies have the biggest recalls. That and China. And if you say, I would like Greenstone, the pharmacist will say, I can get fired because I can only order what is on the formulary.
Who creates that formulary?
What?
Who creates that formulary?
An accountant somewhere.
Who creates it are, like you take, whether it be CVS, Walgreens, Target, they have their own people who say, oh, well, you know, I could buy 1,000 tablets for $10, and that's the cheapest on the market. You buy cheap, you get cheap. You know, there's no way about it. In fact, when you come to supplements, you never, never buy a store brand, because all you'll see on there is manufactured for, well, you know who it's manufactured for, it says on the bottle, and distributed by, but it doesn't tell you what country makes the drug. And a study was done about 1.5 years ago on store name supplements with an 85% failure rate. So, and all they wanted to do was match what was stated on the outside of the bottle or the ingredients on the inside of the bottle. And the failure rate was 85%, including, this is amazing, GNC, which is just a complete vitamin store. So if the company that is the best for supplements is Nature's Made.
Interesting.
Interesting.
So this is very depressing.
Well,
Well, what antidepressants do you want to take? Be careful. It may cause
more depression. The price of these drugs can cause you to be depressed.
So amongst this group, are you all signed up for the picnic?
Yes.
Yes.
Hopefully, if you didn't and you plan to go, sign up, send me money. Got about 63 people signed up so far. We could use more. Last year we had 117 people. Oh, not last year. 2 years ago we had 117 people. So send your checks.
Yeah, and if you want to socially distance, you've got the whole park to socially distance.
We're outside.
I got to talk to George and see, assuming that how does he want to handle the service? The same as he always did, or does he want to change it at all? Anyway.
Yeah.
If nobody else has something to say, I think I've told you before that the next play at Curtain Call is the musical 1776. I am in that play. I am playing Stephen Hopkins, the representative from the state of Rhode Island. And yesterday on Jeopardy, they had a final clue with regard to the Declaration of Independence. So I'm going to give this to you now. If you saw Jeopardy last night, which I watch all the time because I like to be smart, here is the clue with regard to the Declaration of Independence. The first published announcement of the Declaration was by a Philadelphia paper that reported it in this foreign language. All three contestants got it wrong. My wife got it right.
Mhm.
And
Anybody?
one of the contestants had it right and crossed it out. And
That is correct. So you were there, Joe. Thank you.
There's a German town in North Philly.
There you
Does
go,
anybody know? Does anybody know that didn't watch it? What the language was?
What was the language? Pennsylvania Dutch?
Hebrew.
It was in Yiddish.
I don't know. Absolutely. What would you think it would be? What language do you think it would be?
Latin.
Latin? No.
French?
No,
German.
Lou got it right.
German?
Yiddish. German.
Because a third of the
Wow.
residents of Philadelphia were German at that time.
Sorry, Franco, not Italian.
Oh, Pennsylvania Dutch was basically German.
Okay, close enough. I don't know whether that would have been a winner or not.
Yeah, and what they say, there was a town or a part of Philadelphia called Germantown
Yep.
Yeah.
still today.
Great.
Yeah, it was. What do you think about the kid that's Yale PhD
Yeah.
in IT?
Yep.
Got
He's
over $300,000 in 11 days.
I think he's hacking the program.
No, he's using the same method that the other guy, James Jerry, what was his last name?
Holtower.
I know who you mean, but I don't remember
Yeah.
the last name.
Holtower.
Yeah, Holzhauer.
Yeah, right.
He goes for the biggest number first, and if he answers them, and then when he goes in for the double, he usually doubles it. And his kid's doing the same thing.
Yeah, he knows a lot. He's a smart kid. He does know a lot. He bet and lost he lost a lot of money in last night's Final Jeopardy. He still won the game.
Oh yeah, well he bet 30.
30.
He put up 30. He was ahead $49,000. He put up 37,000 on the thing, and he lost 37. He still came out with
Yep.
because the other people only had what the most they could have gotten was $8,000 or $6,000. So he came out with 19 ahead. I think that was his lowest. But if he had gotten it right, he would have had what, about $85,000.
Yep.
Who's the MC of that program now?
They rotate every week or every 2 weeks. They have
Guest
guest
host
hosts.
is David something from
Faber.
Faber, yeah, he's a financial reporter. They had Robin Roberts.
Yep.
Stephanopoulos.
Aaron Rodgers, who was
Right.
good.
Yeah.
Anderson Cooper.
Amy Farrah Fowler from The Big Bang. Mayim Bialik.
Now, I heard this morning on the news that they are negotiating with the first person that they had as the MC, who was one of the directors. I don't remember his name, but he
Yeah.
was the first substitute, and he was excellent.
Yeah.
He
Yeah,
was
he
very
was.
comfortable. Yes, and they are negotiating with him now.
I think Lou said his name.
No, I didn't. That was the one that's
I think he was a producer of some.
Producer or director, yeah.
Yeah, but most of them by and large have been good. A couple of them have had the tendency that when somebody gave an answer, they would, that's correct. You're sitting there saying, is it correct?
make them wait for a long time, and that's.
So I think they get their answers through their earphones. So they're never quite sure that the answer is correct.
Oh, so that's where they get all their information from when they come back and.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
This is a change of pace from the pharmacy and COVID and justice.
Okay,
and
guys, I'm gonna have
redemption.
to say adieu. We have a doctor's appointment in 20 minutes, so. Enjoy the rest of the week, and we'll see you next week. Stay well. Be
Yeah,
careful.
don't take any generic drugs.
No no supplements.
That you don't know the side effects of if you're
Oh, God.
allergic or not.
I have to check
Watch out for
everything
the
that I take.
aspirin.
Stay well, guys.
Thanks,
You
Joe.
too, Joe.
Jerry, there's still
Hey,
six,
Joe.
1776?
There, it's 17, did you say 1976?
No, 1776.
1776. Yeah, I remember the play doesn't start until the middle of September. There are good seats. My suggestion to anybody who wants to see it,
Yeah.
sit in the last row, row K. It is elevated. It's only 10 rows in back or 12 rows back. You can see the entire stage from there. It is the best seats in the house. Take my word for that. I've sat in that row many, many times,
Okay.
especially for a musical where you want to see the entire stage. Row K. If you can't get row
Where is
K,
it being held?
At the Sterling Farms.
yeah. If you can't get K, take J, as in Jerry.
Okay, that's a good.
You're covered by your initials, right? JK, right?
There you go. Thank you, Gary.
That works.
We did get our circular. Where's the camera? There it is.
Yeah,
Thank you. Hey, Dick, look forward to seeing you.
Just
Then again, if
looking
you're on
at,
stage, you
actually,
can't-
just looking at it last night.
Yeah, well, that's my script, but I think it comes out backwards. I don't know, Mike.
No, I'm seeing it anyways.
yep.
What was that, Gary? What'd you say?
No, we saw it the correct way. It's you think it's backwards to you, but it's correct.
It's mirrored when it comes through.
Okay, thank you.
I'm just looking at a news flash. A town has been totally destroyed in California by wildfire.
Hmm.
What town is that, Charlie?
It says here Greenville, a town dating back to the gold rush era.
Huh.
Gosh, this is awful.
Any statistics on size of the town or number of people?
No, it's just a
there?
flash that I've got here. Maybe there's better news somewhere else.
Is it part of Northern California?
Yeah, Northern California says. Gosh, that's awful.
This Southern California is all concrete.
As I recall, that's about 5,600 people.
Wow.
Southern California may be all concrete, but when they had the earthquake there, it was Southern California that got hit terribly. I guess that was in the 90s.
Yeah. I guess almost no matter where you are in the country, you got your your badness that'll happen to you.
Well, California has everything except I think except locusts. Well, maybe they have locusts.
I
don't
think
know.
I got that too, Jerry.
They have that San Andreas vault.
Yeah,
It's ready to go any moment.
any
Yep.
moment.
What's your feeling on climate change?
It's changing.
Yeah.
It's there.
Watch that water coming up behind you, Stu. It's gonna be coming up.
Right.
Yeah. It's at the Halloween Yacht Club.
A lot of flooding in Europe.
Yeah.
I think the question is,
Cod, and you can see the beaches already eroding there.
Right.
from What we saw a number of years ago.
Also
I think the
saw
real
that there were
question is whether how much of it's man-made and how much of it is natural climate change, over the eons.
See, most of it's man-made. And Europe
Well,
has done more with climate change than we have.
You think so? With the, or has that just aggravated it and made it a little bit faster, but we're still in the normal climate change?
Well, there's no question. I was in Europe in the 60s, and those beautiful forests they had, there's a lot of that that's come down and looks like some of our malls and roads and parking lots, and that all lets the water run off.
Oh, yeah.
I was surprised to see when they reported on the fires in Greece that they also reported on fires in Israel. And it's just odd that, they try so hard to make a forest there and it is burning down.
Look what's happened in Antarctica. The world's largest desert is now in Antarctica. It's all melted away.
Yeah. Penguins are in danger over there.
What was that?
They say the giant penguins are
Oh.
going to be an endangered species.
Get down there while you can.
You want to see a clever show on a Netflix? Sorry, it's called Penguin Town. It's a really delightful little show. So if you have Netflix, just go into Penguin Town. All about penguins and the way they live.
Is it a cartoon or actual photos?
It's actual photos, probably taken over a period of a year or two and made into a little documentary. It's delightful. Just type in Penguin Town.
Yeah, thanks, Charlie. Sounds good.
Okay, Stu, you're going to be getting my check for the picnic next week.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. The 2 or 1?
My wife will accompany me this time.
Good. Good.
So we're gonna have remote hot dogs.
We can invite Joey Chestnut. He's the guy who won the hot dog eating contest in Coney Island.
Every year.
Yeah, how many? How many? 100?
76.
What? How
10.
many?
76 in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And he's
I can't
skinny.
believe it.
He's not a big
I
guy,
know,
he's
but-
skinny.
But
Some people have
Must be-
died doing this contest.
yeah,
He does this for a living. He goes around the country. How many slices of pizza can you eat in 10 minutes? How many of this? How many of that?
Huh?
That's his year-round gig?
Yeah, there's a bunch of professionals that do that.
About that.
What's cooking? The meeting, men's meeting.
Was it men's club meeting?
It's just round robin, nothing to nothing.
I thought there were no more meetings.
Not a meeting, just round robin discussions.
The men are still meeting, but we don't have anything to say anymore.
Running out.
Yeah, we have said everything, Simpson. But we
That's the
started.
problem with having a meeting every week. You run out of things to talk about.
No, it's true. Because we start with the drug, with the COVID, the climate change, and the hot dog. I think it's a resume of what's happening in the life. We don't talk about Trump and of Biden or Cuomo. So I think I'm happy now today. At least it was not political.
Yeah, we didn't talk about Cuomo.
I don't
It's
know.
all been said already.
Yeah.
What can you say? Yeah.
God.
Unfortunately, COVID and climate change are political.
Oh yeah, unfortunately, yeah, right, you're right. But the point of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, what is, and all these things, we're getting older, as all of us realize how stupid, people really they don't think too much. These horrible things, and especially the kids of the school. So we are not in a, I would say, I would say Renaissance period. We are more on the downside period.
The problem with Cuomo is that once these people get into power, they think they're invincible. And you have that.
Yeah, but,
Go ahead.
Well, power corrupts.
What was
Power,
that?
power feed power. That is an old way of thinking, and also there is 20 years ago, 30 years ago, what he have done, nobody pay attention. Now, rightly, should be sanctioned because behavior like that is not acceptable. But also you have to give to him the opportunity to defend himself. So I think the question of should it be an inquiry? An inquiry is done, but now there is the proof. He has to defend himself also. I don't know what you think. You cannot resign because everybody say resign. But he has to, to prove that he was not. I'm sure he's not able to prove, but you hear one side of a story.
That's all we've heard is one side of the story.
Yeah, it's only one side of the story.
He's entitled to defend himself.
Yeah. He has the right. Just.
If one wanted to read the actual comments from the Attorney General, where would one go get that? To see the exact charges against him? Just do a Google search.
Probably is somewhere, but
I assume they would be online somewhere.
Yeah, search for it.
Probably the Attorney General's office website.
Yeah, New York Attorney General's website. I would agree.
Okay.
I will bet that if the New York Times doesn't have it, they probably will have it.
But today, in New York Times, big article on the page editorial page. Then they said, your guy, you should resign, Governor Cuomo. But then also is a weird way of saying, and read it from the New York Times. Given the gravity of the allegation he faces and the collapse of his political support, Mr. Cuomo cannot remain as a leader of the New York State. So, because he's losing political support, he has to resign. Should he resign because he has to make a felony, not because he loses political support. So I think he is a very, if you don't give him the opportunity in a proper way of a legal system to defend himself, I think always, when you are in a public arena, you are a little bit of a mercy of a so-called political support. That means funds, votes, a contribution. So I think it's a catch-22 situation.
Well,
I don't believe he was married at any time during these allegations, that he has been a bachelor during the entire time. Is that correct?
Yeah.
I think you're correct.
Yep.
Yeah.
So he
And the
wasn't.
last girlfriend left him about 4 years ago.
He's been divorced for several years already.
Uh-huh.
I think he divorced one of the Kennedy girls.
I wonder how this will affect his brother in CNN.
Oh, the brothers
Oh, yeah.
for me is our business now. Yeah, you will lose a lot. You know, association of a name, and you know, yeah. It's like any, you know, the fortune of the brother was made under the shadow of a governor, especially during the pandemic when it was all with the Trump. I don't know if you don't remember, but the the speech of Andrew Cuomo, a brother under the CNN was basically defending his big brother.
Will it affect the tolls on the Mario Cuomo Bridge?
Yeah, no, oh yeah.
They'll go up to pay the defense.
And then there are going to be a petition to remove the word, the name of the bridge, like we did it for Trump. It's like in Italy, they have everybody was named the Mussolini. After the war, no more Mussolini. It's the same thing. Yeah. We are
Bring back
really
the
in
Tappan
real-
Zee Bridge.
I guess he took too many lessons from Bill Clinton when he was working his administration or something.
Yeah. Bill Clinton also, he had an history of little problems.
Yeah.
Oh, do you know anybody where is Monica Lewinsky?
Well, you excuse me, I'm gonna have to leave. It's past my bedtime.
Yeah, it's not that
Until
time.
after 11, maybe we should.
Okay.
Quits.
I'm coming out
Okay,
also.
cool.
Take
Great.
care, guys.
Yeah.
So long.
Guys,
Okay,
Have a good sleep.
All right.
see you next week.
Yeah,
Bye,
we also
bye.
yeah.
Everyone have a good week.